I want to move on to the next subject, though, because this is a huge deal for a lot of people in the military. Marines at Camp Pendleton are fighting to protect a cross in a remote area that an atheist group wants removed. The cross was erected back in 2003 by 7 Marines grieving over the lives of lost in the War on Terror. The site was originally established for reflection, but has now become grounds for controversy. Now, what should they do? How do you decide in a military situation where Marines erect a cross as a way to memorialize the people that they have lost in the theater of war? AJ, why don't you start?
Well, that's a big question. Personally, as I'm a veteran myself, and I can relate to this issue, I had friends, Carl and I were speaking about this earlier, who were from all persuasions in the military, atheists and Christians alike, and most of them were not this extreme. It really is a matter of antagonism. I really don't know, again, going back to the issue of motivation, the cross itself, there was an interesting story you might recall recently of the small town in Tennessee that was sued by an atheist group about a cross they had up in public. So the mayor of the town decided to remove one of the arms of the crosses. And it was really a defiant move, but it sort of made a point. It was like, look, you're not going to take away the spirit of what we're doing. You may win the battle in court about the symbol itself, which of course is meaningful. But what's more meaningful is the spirit behind it. It really is, right. What are we talking about here? And I find it just very interesting that they're so intimidated by the symbol of the cross being displayed.
I don't know why. I mean, I know why, but I don't know why specifically. Jeff, why don't you answer this? Because one of the things that I see, though, is that there is a growing number of atheists in the military. They've kind of banded together over the last few months. There's now the Military Association of Atheists and Free Thinkers. And remember, they just had the Reason for Reason rally back a couple of weeks ago in Washington, D.C. So this is a growing movement in the military, which is before we've not seen this in the military. It's really been sort of a collective Christian kind of persona. What do you think is going on here?
I think it's a nationwide movement that's growing, maybe just a little bit, and it's leaking into the military. And I think it's a little bit odd, as you know, I have the different debates and discussions, and most of it's good-natured with some of these hardcore atheists I have as friends, and I have to say that most of the time they just pick on school children. You can't sing God when you sing the Lee Greenwood song or whatever. But now, how did they decide to go after Marines? I mean, how many drinks did they have to decide that it's a good idea to now go after the Marines? But I think that really gets to the heart of the issue. Listen, what these guys are doing is putting up a cross in a remote place that nobody can see because they need to have some place to go and be unburdened about the cost of sacrifice and the friends they've lost and what brotherhood really means. And for most people in that situation, a cross, even though it is an instrument of torture, is a symbol of comfort for them. It just seems almost inhuman and unfeeling to me to try to pull the cross down or turn this into a political issue. I say just leave the guys alone.
Does it violate church versus state? Because that's one of the issues, Carl. What does it violate? That this is a federal government property. These Marines belong to the federal government, and they are erecting a cross on public property that doesn't belong to them. They didn't get permission to do it. Does it violate the basic foundations of church versus state, or church against state, or church separated from state?
Yeah, well, the First Amendment doesn't say anything about separating church and state. It allows for establishment and freedom of expression. And, I was the first person invited into Iraq after the fall of Saddam to go and work with our military there. And whenever they experience the trauma and the death and the despair, the spiritual element needs to be brought in to that healing process for transformation, to understand, to make sense, to deal with that adversity, and to get over it, to be able to move forward. And these people allowed their spiritual expression, like Jeff said, they put it on a hill that really most people can't see, and that's their process to deal with and to manage these kind of feelings. And the cross, whether you believe Jesus existed or not, we all will agree that it's, one of the
Well, he
greatest...
actually existed. That's an historical fact.
Yeah, one of the, well, some people would argue that, unfortunately, but we,
Even atheists know that.
but we would all agree that that's probably the symbol, the maximum symbol of sacrifice in a situation. That's what we're asking our military. So they look at this as something that's spiritual, that helps them with healing, but also a representation in the most significant symbolic of the sacrifice that some of their fallen comrades had taken. And to take it away, it isn't a separation of church and state. We can't separate church. You can't separate spirituality from anything. It's it's infused into everything that we do.
And actually, well, it's interesting. I was thinking about the symbol of the cross. Well, in military chaplaincy, the chaplains wear the symbol of their religion. So Christian chaplains wear crosses. As an enlisted man, you have to salute every officer that passes by you. If you are a non-Christian and a Christian chaplain passes you, he's wearing the cross very prominently, you're saluting him. Now, I'm not suggesting that you're saluting the cross, but isn't it interesting that that is a picture of that symbol being prominently displayed clearly within a government property? Right.
Yeah. I mean, what is going to happen with this, Jeff? Because this is something that's not going to go away. How do you decide what is proper for an expression of your faith? And actually, the story says the soldiers weren't really building a religious shrine. It was really more about comfort. It was more about, a reflection.
Yeah. The laws on this are still in flux right now, but basically, if they had turned this into a church without permission, and they regularly held worship services there, and other Marines who are non-believers were being harmed in the process, then there might be a legal case for removing it. But as it is an expression of comfort. It is a private thing. If I were the Marine Commandant, I think I would just say, we're going to grant them an easement or whatever you call it, to just let them have this little space here where they can have this little place where they get together and memorialize their friends. I mean, everybody of every religion would have to agree, I think, with Jesus in this, that no greater love hath the man that he lay down his life for his friends. And these Marines, they may not even be believers in Jesus Christ, but they are still understanding that fundamental principle. And so, I think it's just best to leave them alone, to find a way to accommodate them. If it started to spread into massive, everybody's putting up crosses everywhere and all this kind of thing, and it became this big battle, my cross versus your crescent or whatever else, then I can see how it might be a big issue. But this is really, once again, just, I think, much ado about nothing. It's just, I think some atheists are being cranky, and some of them are friends of mine. I understand that. I get that. I understand what they're trying to do, but I just don't think it's really a big deal.
Well, the Commandant is going to make a decision about this in the next few days, so we'll see what's going to happen with that.